Welcome to Wildcat Sports Update. I'm your host, Jim Boyle, and today in studio I have the three of the junior captains of our Wilmington High School lacrosse team. We'll introduce them around. First, we've got Luke DiProfio and Gus Lambert, and over there we have Colin Allard. Some of these guys are returning. Luke, you're a first-time guest here, so Luke, why don't you give us a quick rundown who you are, what position you play, and those sorts of fun things.
My name's Luke DiProfio. I'm junior captain for the lacrosse team. I play goalie, number 5.
I'm Gus Lambert. I'm number 22. I play close defense, and I've been playing for 2 years.
Okay, Colin?
I'm Colin Allard. I'm a junior captain. I wear number 13. I play midfield, and I've been playing lacrosse at the high school for 3 years now.
Okay, so all three of you captains. John Mears not here; he's away.
Yeah, he's doing
I had a baseball guy who was away too, so maybe I'll bring those both in for a secondary show. I want to go around the room and what you see, how you perceive your role as a captain. So, Luke, we're going to start with you. What do you perceive your role as a captain? And what are you trying to how do you try to help the team in that role?
Try to just lead the team, like especially the defense, like point out their mistakes, especially like from where I am. I see everything that goes on. So, I just try to kind of critique their game and see how they can get better.
Okay, Gus?
I'm louder because that's what the defense needs. And so, if you go to a game, you'll hear me talking and telling people to talk. And, yeah, there's a lot of young guys, too. So, we're really just teaching them the defense, too.
Okay. And Colin?
Well, I'm the only captain on offense, so it's definitely different. We don't have a lot of subs, so we got to manage all the personalities, make sure everyone gets along, and then on the field, I have to be like the quarterback almost and just call the plays. And there's definitely people who help with that, but I do the majority of it.
Okay, so Dennis Ingram, our AD, has instituted what it is because he calls the Captain's Council. I know all three of you have been at least to one of the meetings. Also, with this question, I want you to not only answer what have you learned, what is your takeaway from that, but what are your off-the-field responsibilities as captains as well? So, Colin, we'll start with you. What have you learned from Captain's Council, and how do you see your off-the-field responsibilities?
Well, Captain's Council is something that we once a month, and you go and you kind of just learn how to be a better leader, and especially for us because we're all juniors, it helps us get better for that next year. But off the field, something that I've learned is you have to help not only on the field, but you're going to be part of the community and part of just Wilmington itself.
Okay. Gus, Captain's Council and how being a captain off the field.
In Captain's Council, you one thing I learned is mindset, and you have to go into games with confidence and knowing that you're gonna win.
Okay. And how do you off the field captain?
Off the field, you just gotta lead by example in the classroom out of it.
Okay. Luke, I know you've been to at least one Captain's Council.
Yeah.
What have you taken away from that? And what do you see yourself as an off-the-field captain?
Teach you about motivation, how to motivate your team and stuff. And off the field, but making sure everybody knows what to do, practices and stuff like that.
Okay, good. And part of the role of the captains are help with goal setting and team dinners and bus rides. So we're going to combine those together. I'm assuming that everyone's goal was to make the tournament this year, so we can say if there's any other goal that you had, we'll go through that. But also, I'm going to start with you, Luke. Team dinners and bus rides. We'll give you team dinners. What are they like? What do you expect to accomplish out of a team dinner? And what's the best one you guys had so far?
Lots of team bonding, getting to know each other. Especially there's a lot of freshmen on the team who we didn't know coming into this, so it's all about spending time with the team. I think Collins was probably the best one.
And why is that Collins best?
Some TP and after. Had some fun after with the team.
And how about the food? Was it any good?
That was all right.
All right, Gus. Same thing for you. Team dinners, and what do you expect to get out of them? And a different favorite one. Hopefully, you've had more than one.
Yeah. So team dinners are really just to have fun, laugh with the guys, and then it goes towards the field. And the best one, yeah, it might have been Collins. Mostly for me because of the food.
What was the food?
He always gets the same food.
I had the same thing. Done. Well, Gus has been to how many team dinners now at my house?
Probably 4.
4 or 5.
What do you have the same thing though? What is it?
AJ's, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And I've gotten the same thing because I've done one in football, hockey, and lacrosse now.
Okay.
So
And you guys your mom was an expert on team dinners then? Or your
Yeah.
mom and dad? Good. I'm going to give you the team bus. I know it was like coach.
I'm the worst person to ask because on the bus I just go on my phone the whole time. Like even Gus was like,
Yeah.
I don't.
So the
like,
bus isn't good for you.
I sit all the way in the back. I lay down and I watch videos on my phone.
Okay, so we know that Colin is focusing on videos and focus on the game. So we're gonna have to come back to Gus. We're gonna go with you. Does the coach allow music on the bus? A, and who controls the music and what type of music you're playing? If he doesn't have music, then I know we don't have to answer that question. So Gus, what do you got?
Yeah. He does allow music,
Gus
and
is it.
yeah, we don't do it every time, but yeah, when we do, I'm usually the one, even though people usually like rap.
Gus is an old school guy.
Yeah,
Gus,
we listen to
what kind of? So
we listen to like Metallica and stuff.
Okay, so you're an old school '90s kind of rock and roll guy.
Yeah, but I will say, on the way to Brookline, I had the music, so.
And you won.
And that was one of the only
Brookline
times, yeah.
Okay, good. Just real quick, I'd like you guys to give a rundown on all the players. I know that we have a goalie, a defenseman, and a offenseman. If I'm saying that wrong or right. So, Luke, why don't you just give me a couple of defenders that are in front of you,
Yep.
and then we'll have Gus clean it up, and then Colin, you get to finish out with the offensive players. So, Luke, we'll go with you. Just a quick rundown of some of the players.
Other than Gus up in the close D, we have Jack Sear, who's a freshman, first year playing high school, doing all right. And then we have Max Bagtaz, a close D, and he'll usually switch at LSM with Isaac.
Okay. How would you get the rest of the defensive unit?
D-middies,
Okay.
they're dogs, kind of funny.
D-middy's like a first year position.
Yeah,
Gus was a D-middy
yeah.
last year. It's a good opportunity for you to learn.
The only returning D-midi is Pat DeLucia. He's done really good this year, but
Really good.
like Derek, Nick Spinoza,
Legend.
they're all doing good.
So
They're doing good. They're picking it up well.
And then we'll go to you, Colin.
Brody.
Who?
Brody Humphrey.
Okay, Colin. Who do you got up front with you?
Well, like I do face-offs too, so Mason and Brody have been switching off with me. They've been doing good. Both been learning a lot. And then so offense-wise, you have Cam Gray, who's been like my right-hand man this year, scoring a lot of goals. Ryan Archer's been a great sophomore for us. Stepped up. He played a lot as last year as a freshman. And then Brady, Luke, and Tyler are the other three. And they're like Brady didn't play freshman year, and Luke and Tyler joined last year, and they all have just learned. Luke just switched back to offense. He's been doing great. And then obviously Brandon Veazey got hurt at the start of the year. He was a starter.
Okay, is there any freshmen of note? I know you mentioned Jack Sear. Any freshmen of note that are coming and contributing?
Offensively, you have John Kavanaugh and Cal Spencer, who are on JV, have been laying it up. So
Okay, any defensive freshmen we need?
Yeah, Tommy and Jack McGilvery.
Okay.
They've been like switching in at close, and yeah, they're young players, but I think they could be good.
Are they brothers?
No, Jack Sear and
Sear
Tommy
and
Oh,
McGilvery.
okay. So
Yeah,
Tommy,
yeah,
Jack.
yeah.
Okay. All right, good answer. I like that. Luke, to you, real goal. What as a goaltender?
Yep.
What was your goal for the season, as an individual goal?
My goal was we didn't have any returning polls, basically. Like, all of our starters and stuff graduated. So my goal was probably to just get the defense going again, and like teach the kids in new spots what to do.
And second, follow-up question: how did you become a goalie in lacrosse? How did that happen?
Sometime in like maybe like fourth, fifth grade. I don't know, because like back then it used to be like kids would like switch off, and, like kids would get there like we like kind of like force someone to play goalie. And I think I was the only one that showed up with a cup, so I was the only one that could play goalie. And then I played. I did pretty good, and then I just didn't stop. I just kept going on as goalie.
Okay, it's always interesting to see how people can goal.
Yeah.
Gus, question to you is strengths and weaknesses of the team. What do you consider the strengths of your team currently this year?
I think the strength is honestly like the bonding. Like we all get along, I think, pretty well. Like there's some bickering, but like at the end of the day, we're all actually friends. And the weaknesses is that like we're a young team, but it's also a strength because we're not losing a lot for next year.
Good. And then about with the weaknesses, Colin, where do we improve? How are you getting improved? Experience is hard. You have to play. But what else are you doing to improve to be ready for the next year's opportunities?
We're getting healthy. John Mayer was a great defender for us last year. Obviously, he's missing the year. And Braden Veazey had a very hot start. He was I think he was leading the team in goals after the first 2 games, and obviously tough injury there. So I think as we grow the program, more kids will play. Obviously experience because we're a young team, but I think especially with a couple kids breaking out this year, like Cam Gray's been maybe our best player all year, and Luke is obviously the best goalie, I think, in the league. So it's definitely a lot easier to have a backbone, and our defense is just young, and they'll learn.
Okay, I want to switch to the year that we're playing right now. I don't know. As we're broadcasting, what's the record right now?
2-7.
2-7.
6 or 6.
Okay, so what's the Middlesex League like? I know there are a lot of really good teams on the other side. The big schools are really good lacrosse teams. What's the Middlesex League? How do you compare this year to last year? We'll do you first, Colin.
Well, Middlesex-wise, it is the best league, I think, in maybe Massachusetts for public schools. Reading's a top 10 team. Winchester's a top 10 team. Burlington's a top 10 team. So, and then you look at our schedule. We play Shawshing Tech, runs the CAC every year. We play, and obviously, there was a couple games in there we should have won. We should have won Stoneham. We should have won Medford. Like, those are games we should have won, but at the end of the day, it's just like we played a tough league, and we're never going to have a great record.
Okay, and we'll switch to Gus, because last year, difference between this year and last year's team.
Well, defense was very, like, I don't know, they were, like, all seniors, so they all, like, knew what they were doing. It was, like, I don't know. But, yeah, this year we're just young, and...
So you're young, so last year you're more experienced, this year you're young.
That's really it.
All right, so Luke, finally with you, what are the postseason opportunities for us? I think you made the tournament last year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think you won your first tournament game, too. So what are the postseasons now? I know the goal's to get there. How close are you to that? Because you're playing the Middlesex League, your power rank is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And what are you going to do? What do you need to do to get there?
We need to win some of these winnable games like Woburn. We just need to get some wins under our belt. And, yeah, that's it.
That's it? Anything else, Colin, to add to that? Since you're one of the more veteran players?
Well, offensively wise, it's definitely different this year without a big name senior, because past 2 years we had Michael and Nathan. So obviously, a lot of those responsibilities switched over to me and Cam because we're returning. So I think me and Cam are just learning that role and just getting better as we go.
Okay. Next question, we're going into the coaching world a little bit. As you guys know, I do coach at the high school on the baseball side. I always like to ask this question of everybody because it helps to educate me as well. So what's one piece of advice, Colin, you would give to a high school coach, not me, not your coaches, but what's one piece of advice you give to a high school coach to help make them more successful? What would that piece of advice be? Colin, you're first.
Keep the game fun. Lacrosse is a fun sport, I think. Especially at the smaller sports, there's a lot of kids who play for the first time, so you got to keep it fun and keep them coming back.
Okay, Gus?
Yeah, I think installing like the thought that effort is like the most important thing, and I think that's what our coaches are actually doing well. So, yeah, just like making sure you do 100% the entire game.
Okay, and Luke?
Probably having like a winning mentality, because I know they talk about stuff like that during our captain's councils a lot. It's just it really helps the team.
Okay, so in the same line, we'll stick with you, Luke. What's one thing you've learned from the coaching staff this year?
One thing I've learned, maybe it's like it's like the whole team needs to like work together, because like we've lots of practices where people will be yelling at each other and stuff, like fighting over like our clears and like how to do it, and it's like you gotta bring each other together. Like everyone needs to like help pitch in ideas and stuff for plays.
Okay.
It's a team effort.
Good. Gus, what's something you learned from the
Yeah, I think what I said, like 100% through the entire game, because I hate hearing it, but we know right now we're a first half team, and like in the second half, like in Stoneham, we fell apart. So yeah, just like going 100% the entire game.
And Colin?
To be like confident in myself, especially Coach Forts does a really good job of telling me like when I have my shot to take it and like not pass up that opportunity.
Okay, Colin, you had talked about growing the program, and you guys are young this year. So, this is a two-part question. What do we do What do we do to grow lacrosse at Wilmington High School, boys lacrosse? And what would you tell the parent and the child, a fifth grader, about playing lacrosse? So the first question is, how do we grow the program? This is going to be all three of you. And the second question is, what do you tell the fifth grader? So Colin, I'll let you go first.
Well, growing the program is just like, I think that stretches from the people on the team to the coaches, even to like the administrators of the school. I think they do a great job of trying to get people to come to our games. And I think as players and coaches, like the better we play, the more people are going to want to play. And also, like if you talk about how fun lacrosse is, other people want to play lacrosse.
And what would you tell a fifth grader who might be thinking of lacrosse?
It's never going to be too late to start. Like in hockey, you could say it might be a little too late, but even in football. But lacrosse, like there's kids who look at Gus. Gus is, what is it, your second year?
Yeah.
You're a captain. So I think me and Luke have played for a long time, but there's plenty of examples of kids picking up the sport and being great at it.
Okay. Same thing to you. What is how do you grow the program, and what are you going to tell them? If I have a fifth grader, what are you going to tell them?
Yeah, so growing the program, you really just have to like talk about it and like network it, and kids will join. And yeah, it's a great time, so they'll pick it up and they'll get better. I tell a fifth grader that, yeah, exactly what Colin said. I like the sport because it's one of the easiest to pick up. Like maybe offense is a little harder, but like if you work at it, you could definitely get better quickly.
So this is your second year playing, Colin said, correct?
Yeah.
What made you play lacrosse then? What all of a sudden I want to play lacrosse in the spring? What was that motivation?
Well, the year before, I wasn't doing anything. It was kind of boring. And then all my friends were doing this. And so I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. Played with my brother. And I was D-Midi last year, but yeah, I just worked at it and then they eventually moved me to pole.
That's good. Poster child for people not giving up on the sport even when you're a junior or sophomore in high school. Good to hear. Okay, Luke, Colin said you've played a long time.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit of growing the program. The other question is, is there a youth program in Wilmington? Did you play in that, and how do we use that to grow the program? And then we'll do the question about the young child.
Oh, yeah, there is. I played in youth with Allard. I played on teams that like his dad coached and stuff. There was a lot of kids in the youth program. And what was the other question?
So how do we have a youth program, how do we grow our program? Are we losing kids to the tech, or are we losing to the private school, or how do we grow the program to get the kids who want to come to high school?
I think it is kind of the problem of losing a lot of kids to other schools like the tech and like them going to private schools. I think we just got to show them that like Wilmington sports, like we can have great teams if kids just stick around. And I think that would really elevate the program a lot.
Okay, and what would you tell the fifth grader? I mean, they say you can pick it up whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you would? What else would? When you were in fifth grade, what would if a high school kid came down to you? What would you want? What would you have wanted to hear from him?
It's such a fun sport. That's the biggest thing. It's super fun, contact sport. You can go around, hit kids. That's my favorite part.
It seems to be everybody's favorite part about playing lacrosse. Now I get the favorite part of my job here is I get to learn more about everyone individually. I know that Colin and Gus have been on. So we're going to run through a series of questions and answer them as best you can. If you don't want to answer something, you can tell me. They're not that difficult, but we'll go with this. So we're going to start with the newcomer, Luke, first. So first question is, a present or former teammate, lacrosse teammate, you've learned the most from, and what was that you learned?
Maybe Michael Allard, because he was a pretty vocal guy. Like he like encouraged the team a lot. So probably that.
Okay, other sports or activities you do at the high school?
I play football, linebacker.
And what are your lacrosse? You played a long time, you've been a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite moment in high school at Wilmington, and what's your favorite moment all time in lacrosse?
I think my favorite moment lacrosse in high school in general is winning our playoff games last year. That definitely was.
And the overall
super exciting.
And overall lacrosse.
Overall lacrosse, just being around my friends, playing a fun sport.
Okay, and I know there's professional lacrosse. Are there lacrosse players that you guys you can inform us about, or is it something that this is more of a high school sport? You're not really watching anybody that's out there.
I know college lacrosse has gotten a lot bigger. I mean, the professional stuff is out there. It's just kind of got to take
And do you
off
watch a
more.
specific college then?
I watch colleges like Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they did good last year. Duke, they're good.
Okay. The number that you wear and why?
5. I wear 5 because my freshman year I wore 4 because it was my sister's number, and they didn't have it when we got the new jerseys.
Okay. That makes some sense.
Yeah.
Who's influenced you up to this point with lacrosse, and are there any coaches that you'd like to credit to get to this point?
I know our trainer Tom has influenced me a lot because he played college lacrosse too, and he's always super supportive, especially like during my tough games. Yeah.
And coaches that you've had along the way that you want to give a shout out to?
Forts, definitely. Forts has been great. And one of our coaches last year, Butch, who was just super positive, always came to practice with a smile.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there was a walk-up song in lacrosse, what would your walk-up song be? Luke DiProfio.
Walk-up song. I don't know.
We'll come back to
I
it
can't
now.
think of one.
Something that you learned in athletics that you can apply to the classroom.
Try hardest, probably.
Okay. All right, Gus, you're going to be next. Present or former teammate that you've learned the most from?
I'd say Bobby Sear and Lax, definitely. But also, like, all the like physical kids, like even like Dempsey, Sconia from football, because it directly translates to defense and lacrosse and like playing aggressive.
Okay, good. Other sports and or activities you do in high school?
I do hockey and football and lacrosse.
Okay. Favorite moment? You've been playing lacrosse only 2 years, they said.
Mm.
Is there something that sticks out to you in your mind?
I think any moment where you hit someone and they go to the ground. So I'd say last year at Reading, I had a pretty good game and I had a couple good hits and the bench just goes crazy. It's a great feeling.
That's good. Who's influenced you and coaches that you want to credit? I mean, like I said, you've only been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Is there somebody that influenced you to get into the game because you said you were bored and you got to play with your brother? And is there a coach that you really like say, this guy's really helped me along the way?
Yeah, I think so last year at Butch, I remember coming to the first captain's practice, like before the season even started, and I didn't do any of the drills with like the other players because I didn't know how to catch yet. So me and another new kid, I think it was Pat, just played catch for like an hour.
Pat?
DeLucia.
Okay.
Yeah, so that stuck with me. I
And
think.
coaches that have, now they've been 2 years, who's really helped you with your development as a lacrosse player?
I don't know. I mean, as a lacrosse player, like actually skill wise, maybe Coach Layden. He played in college. I think he was a D mid. So last year he taught me a lot, all the basics and stuff.
Okay, the number that you wear and why?
Mostly started in football just because it's very popular. Running back number.
What number do you wear?
Oh, 22.
So you always wear
Okay,
22?
Yeah, 22.
Because it started with no specific. You weren't
Nope.
born on the 22nd.
Nope.
Nope. Just
Started in high school. Yeah, 22.
Why not 11? Why 22?
I don't know. It's just a good running back number, and then so I was just like, I'm gonna keep that number for all 3 sports. I just like the number.
That's good. Okay, your walk-up song. What would it be?
I don't know. There's a lot.
Well,
I'm just gonna say this because I was just listening to the car. For those about to rock, it's a good one. AC/DC.
AC/DC. Luke, are we ready for the walk-up song yet? Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to Luke.
I haven't really been thinking
We'll
about
cycle it back through.
I don't know.
Something you learned on the field, athletic field, that you can apply to the classroom.
Something I learned on the field is effort, definitely. Because really in the classroom, if you have effort, you will do well, and that's like the biggest thing.
And how about something that learned? What do you take away from being a brand new lacrosse player in high school? What do you take away, and how do you, if I'm a kid in 10th grade right now, what's your takeaway, and how do you tell me, yeah, just play? What do you got?
Yeah, you just got to start. You got to start somewhere. You just got to keep practicing. If you want to get better, you will get better because you'll work at it.
Okay, but perfect. Colin, back on the hot seat once again. Teammate present or former, who's influenced you the most, and what you learned from them?
So when I think it's just like, I don't think it's just when one teammate. It's
You
been,
can do multiples.
well, last year Michael helped me a lot. The year before it was Nathan. So like, kind of just watching those guys who went and played at the next level, Bobby, all of them. That helped me show me like what I had to do if I wanted to play the next level, and that helped me become a better player.
Good. Other sports and/or activities you do at the high school?
I play hockey and football.
Hockey and football. Favorite moment from your high school lacrosse career, and your favorite moment, because you've probably played forever since you could hold a stick, from lacrosse overall?
My favorite moment ever was I was maybe in like 6th or 7th grade, and my club team, we won this like really big tournament, so that was pretty cool.
And in high school?
Luke, you said the playoff game, right?
Yeah.
You could say the play again.
No, I don't want to say. I gotta think of one. Well, hopefully. Well, I don't know. I don't really have one. I think actually, I scored at the tying goal in the playoff game last year.
Okay.
And Cameron gave me a nice pass, so that was pretty cool.
Okay. Who's influenced you and coached you on a credit?
If what are you showing off? Well, my dad was my coach all growing up, so he obviously helped me a lot. We would fight, but it's okay.
That's what dads and sons do. You have to understand.
Yeah. And then my club coach Jim Conley helped me a lot, helped me become a better player. And then Coach Butch, Coach Forts, and Coach Craig Turner all kind of helped me through lacrosse. Those are my 3 coaches.
All right. What number do you wear and why?
Well, in football, no, I wear 13, but I wear 13 in everything. But in football, I haven't been able to because they didn't have number 13. But I wear number 13 because I was born on that day, and then my freshman year in hockey, it was the last number. So
Good. So you're born on the 13th, freshman year in hockey. Not only they had, and they don't have in football. So what do you?
Well, now they have it in football.
Okay, so you're going to be all set. What's your walk-up song?
Oh, I don't have one.
I
was sitting here.
You sit in the back of the bus, right? You sit in the back of the bus and you just put your headphones on and.
Halftime
what do you
radio.
listen?
No,
what song do you listen to on the back of the bus? Or are you watching TV?
I'm watching like TikTok on my phone.
Okay.
What's a good TikTok song?
On like full blast. Too.
Yeah, and I don't wear headphones.
Oh, you know,
Tweaker.
that must makes everybody happy.
Tweaker.
Something you learned from athletics that you can relate back to the classroom.
That if you set goals for yourself, it's very nice. It's something to push and stride for. So you can do that in the classroom and on the field.
Okay, I'm gonna real quick. We're gonna do real quick answers. I got 2 questions. It'll be quick. We'll go all through till we finish up with our shout out. We'll start with you, Colin. The toughest team you have to play in Middlesex League.
I don't have one. I don't know. It depends on the year.
This year, toughest team to play.
Well, we haven't played everyone yet.
Who do you think it will be?
So far, it has been Winchester.
Winchester so far.
Ready.
And what's the hardest you've ever been hit in a
Lacrosse game.
And was it
Belmont last year. There was like 30 seconds left, and it was tied. And I went to go clear the ball, and some kid popped me, and my helmet came off it.
And is there what's your top hit that you've hit another player?
I play offense, so I don't really get to
You don't
hit
get to hit an
people.
offense.
Oh, last year in the scrimmage, I had the ball, and I dropped my shoulder, and I ran over someone. That was
Oh.
pretty cool.
Okay, Gus, we're going to go to you. Toughest team you have to play that you think you play in the Middlesex League.
Yeah, either Reading or Winchester. Winchester so far.
Okay, and
Tough game.
can defensemen hit?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the best hit you've had, and what's the toughest hit you've taken?
I've probably taken hits. I'll start with that, but I don't know like specifically, but I definitely have picked up a ground ball and got knocked over. But I'd say the best hit I've given is probably the Tech game last year. He was already injured, but I knocked over Bubba and he set up for the game.
Okay, and look, you're a goaltender, so
Yep.
I don't know if you can the goaltenders hit.
Technically, I mean, I don't really get hit.
Okay, so the
I've
question.
been
So
shots.
first of all, as a goaltender, what's the hardest shot you've ever seen?
Hardest shot.
Michael Allard.
Michael Allard. It was honestly probably Lexington. They had a couple kids from like Georgetown and like John
Yeah,
Hopkins.
Johns Hopkins.
Those kids were crazy.
And then what's the toughest team you think in the Northwest League to play goalie against?
Winchester had a lot of great shooters, but I think it's going to be Reading.
And you got them coming up because
Yeah.
next week, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, who's got the hardest shot? Now you said Michael Allard from last year. Who's got the hardest shot on the team? Do you guys shoot on him?
Yeah.
Practice. Who's got the hardest shot on the team?
Allard.
Colin does?
Yeah.
All right, that's good news. Now comes my favorite part of the show. Not favorite part. As we conclude, I get to give a shout out to anybody you want. So Luke and Gus, you're going to look right at those cameras there. Colin, you're going to look right here at this camera. You can shout out anybody that you want to shout out. So we're going to start with Luke.
Me.
And you're ready to go. Shout out anybody you want, Luke.
Shout out Jack Sear, freshman long pole.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd shout out anyone other
Anybody
than
else?
Jack.
All right, you got it. That's it. What are your parents going to say when they watch?
Shout out Mom and Dad.
Okay, there you go. All right, Gus, you're on.
Shout out my parents, my sister, my brother, all the coaching staff, especially Nick Sullivan, because he stepped up as the head coach for a little bit. I think he did a really good job.
Good, great shout out. And Colin, your shout out's this camera here.
I'd shout out my mom, and then my dad, especially in lacrosse, and then my sister, who plays at the high school, and then I don't have anyone else. I guess the offensive guys. Shout out Johnny Hockey too, because
All right, well, listen, it was great to have. We've had Luke DiProfio,
Yep.
we've had Gus Lambert, and we've had my good friend Colin Allard. It's good to have you guys on here representing Wilmington High School, especially the lacrosse program, which I hope are growing as we're sitting here, and things get better and better every year. But it's great to have you guys on the show, and thanks for coming to the studio. And for Wildcat Sports Update, I'm your host, Jim Boyle, and we'll see you on down the road.